afternoon, good evening. How is everybody? Welcome to another episode of Roll Around Find Out. In today's episode, we're going to talk about total party kills, why they can suck, and why they can be pretty awesome. It's a topic that lots of people talk about. If you go on YouTube, there are so many videos out there. But I think it's an interesting topic to talk about, and I think I've got some interesting takes on it. So excited to talk about TPKs. Before we get into that, though, for the one person that maybe listens to this twice, this is a re-upload of this episode. I had a clip missing when I recorded it. It went bye-bye, and then it got replaced with like an outtake. So the first 2 minutes are me just prepping the table, which is super lame. So sorry for the one person that this is going to affect. But anyways, I'm going to change that intro and talk about something different. You wouldn't know, but I'm super, super pumped. In the next couple days, I'm going to interview somebody named Sean Audit. I believe that's how it's pronounced. And he's the author of some incredible things. I first came across this called Turn It Off, which is it's made for Knave, and the layout, the art, the map, it's all amazing. We've emailed a little bit back and forth, and he said it's him and his wife that do this, and this is a super easy, super fun adventure. I say fun, like fun for me, but it's really dark. And I'm excited to talk to him and learn. I'll even say I'm nervous. I'm nervous to talk to him because this guy's got a lot of talent, and he seems like a super humble guy. So let's see if I can put some wind in his sails and beef him up. These two are for Dungeons and Dragons, and they have a much different aesthetic to them. The Isle of Bells, this just is awesome. I kind of get the vibe of the Gerudo Desert in Breath of the Wild. And look at this art. Look at this. I forget, what is this called? This is like Ravenloft uses a map like this. I forget, isometric or something like that. The graphic design on this is just incredible. I can't imagine what it's like having this much talent. This one I read is super cool. The Abandoned Mine, you can see very similar layout, just different color scheme. Awesome stuff. So I'm really excited to talk to him, Sean Audit. If I remember, I'll put a link in the description. It'll definitely be in the interview episode. Yeah, just real short, real brief intro on this. I'm super excited for the interview. And again, sorry for the upload, but as the name of the podcast goes, I rolled around and I found out. So see you in the next clip, which is also kind of like a re-upload because I'm not going to change it, but you'll see like, oh, wait, I forgot. So I had recorded the podcast and then had to finish off the intro. But it's a hot mess, this episode. Just take it for what it is. So see you in the next clip. Bye. Wait, I forgot. Psych. One more thing. I should wait to show this because I just broke it like an idiot. But in my last episode, my random DM's Guild file, I came across Honk, which I'm going to run in my school club. Here is the Goose Hydra that I 3D printed. And if you know anything about 3D printing, it needed the support structures. And I got those off the wings relatively easily, but underneath here, the legs, under the belly, it was impossible. It was like a thick layer on top. Oh, it broke again. Thick layer that I had to get a chisel under and then turning it while it broke off. So I think I'll be fine. I'm going to paint this, which I've never painted a mini. So I think on YouTube, I'm going to do like exclusive YouTube content and show me painting this goose, because let's be real, 98% of it is white already. I just have to paint the mouths, tongue, and eye, and then the little legs that I broke off. All right, so there's bonus, but if I put it all back together here, I think my students are gonna freak out because the ones that I've had before, I've never used minis before. I don't use a battle map. It's all theater of the mind. Sometimes I'll draw out a battle map. You're here, they're here, but usually not. And so when this comes out of nowhere, you know, that classic sound effect. Boom! Am I a nerd? Yes, I am. How could you tell? I have a goose hydra. All right. Time for the random drive-through RPG selection. I have all of my files here, all 677 of them. And I wish there was a easy way to denote the differences. So I could just say, pick a random number, then we go find that one, but I can't. So I'm going to just go here, and then... all right, these are all Mothership ones. So I talk Mothership a lot in here. So I'm going to go further down, randomize it. Let's see. I don't know what this one is. Arid Ruin. Okay. I know it would be random and pick, but I know what all of those ones are. So let's see. Arid Ruin. 2 stars from Van Dang. The Arid Ruin. A blight, a swarm of locusts, a lonely border town is seeking aid to curtail these foreboding events. All signs point to a recently unearthed ruin in the middle of the desert. It has been dubbed the Arid Ruin. Can the party trek across the scorching and inhospitable desert to brave the trials within and end the source of the curse? Or will they succumb to the horrors inside and allow those denizens to plague the world around it? This adventure is a desert themed with Egyptian and Githyanki elements and a few nods to other iconic bits of pop culture. Players will be able to explore the ruins and attempt to glean who the previous occupants were. Okay, 33 pages. Must have been a free adventure. Let's see. 7 traveling days in a desert. That's lengthy. 3 dungeon maps, 3 modified stat blocks, 7 new magical items, 1 new ridiculous spell to make sure, quote, that friend doesn't get left out, and half a dozen new ways to deceive and maim your players. That's awesome. Okay, let's download it. A short adventure for 4th to 6th level characters. Now, if I remember, it was 3 to 5 here. Oh, 3 to 5 sessions from levels 4 to 6. Got it. Okay. 3 to 5 sessions. That's sweet. I know I said that I was going to run Honk, which I'm very excited about. Maybe this will be after Honk. A little more serious. Okay. I'm not going line for line here. Just looking at the caliber of this. Githyanki's. The Trek. Good text to read. Not a fan of survival. Well, I am, because I have never really done it, and I want to get good at it. But it says here, hand wave this section. This section can be particularly long, as it's designed to emphasize the struggles of desert travel in a hex crawl-like manner. It's okay to skip or condense this section if the group does not enjoy survival aspects of D&D. It is recommended to do the following to maintain the thematic setting. Emphasize the punishing heat, the difficulties of trudging through this. So you just hand wave. It was a I don't know, perilous. It was a tough journey, lots of struggles, but you made it, right? Very hand wavy. Day 1, okay. Again, I don't, maybe that's very railroady to have 7 days stacked up. I would hope it's based on the travel rules. If it's difficult terrain, how much can an adventurer travel in a day? All right, great map. Gachornin basement. Lots of text to read. I think that's super helpful. Again, I'm always looking through the lens of, is this appropriate for my middle school Dungeons and Dragons club? Not that I wouldn't run this with adults, but just my lens, my perspective. Would this be good for kids? Oh yeah, and Ankheg. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but it's how I pronounce it. 33 pages. Okay, yeah. Oh, what was this thing? Mm-hmm. Oh, a mind flayer. They're probably my favorite monsters, which we'll talk about actually in a second here with Baldur's Gate. Ooh, a minotaur. Oh, nice. Does that mean there's a maze? Yep. Sweet. Okay. My enthusiasm is rising. What do we got here? Skeletons, 4-armed skeletons. Sweet. A mummy. Oh, cool. See, like, mummies, great for kids. They've heard about, especially if they're new to D&D, they've heard about mummies their entire life, right? But now they get to actually fight one. Awesome. Minotaur, probably a little less knowledge they have on the Minotaur, but just looking at it, I think I would get a different picture. What does he have in this hand? A sausage? Oh, is that a shield? Oh, big old shield behind him. I thought this strap, I just saw this strap. I'm like, is that a turd in his hand? Okay, got it. Sorry, embarrassing. Okay, yeah. Keep going. Conclusion, yep, magical items. We got Dracus Draught, a potion. Flail of Vengeance, Gish Dagger, Lesser Gish Dagger, Memories of Hate, wondrous item, very rare. This tome is actually a diary detailing a bloody vendetta against the creatures known as the Illithid, Mind Flayers. The story details the enslavement of the... Okay, well, that makes sense because Mind Flayers enslaved the Githyanki. Okay, yeah, got it. They tied that in and put it in the Egyptian theme. That's cool art. I like that. Spells. Muscle Punch. You flex your muscles, wind up your fist, and throw a giant punch accompanied by a bellowing incantation that you are sure is magic-y. Does it not have a spell level? Oh, second level. Yeah, okay. Make an unarmed melee attack using your proficiency and strength modifier against one creature within 5 feet of you. On a hit, roll 1d6. All right, 1 to 3. You deal 1d4 plus strength bludgeoning damage to your target. You swear you see sparks fly out of your punch and your muscles bulge, and everyone thinks you're a wizard. They don't. I don't know what that means. If you roll a 4, wham, deal 2d4 plus your strength modifier as magical bludgeoning damage to your target. Now you're sure you're a wizard. Number 5, you flex your muscles so well that you deal 2d6 magical bludgeoning damage to your target and then cast Enlarge on yourself. Ooh. You turn into the Hulk? If you roll a 6, kaplow, your punch deals 4d6 lightning damage and you push your target 20 feet back in a shower of sparks. I'd have to get the context of, well, what if you don't have spell slots? Maybe it's a scroll or something. Okay, wow. Well, for a free adventure, this seems pretty fun. Arid Ruin by Van Dang. Cover art, Code Ram-X. No idea what that is. DM's Guild. Okay, this is from the DM's Guild. That's probably why it's 5th edition compatible. The Trek, the Arid Ruin, the Vlakith Vas. All right. Go check it out. Arid Ruin, you're looking for a desert encounter that will take 3 to 5 sessions. I think that's worth checking out. All right, on to the main topic of total party kills. See you in a bit. All right, for the main topic, total party kills. This is definitely going to be a more audio-focused version of the podcast here. I got a little clip here early on to show, but if you are an audio-only listener, this is best for you. I know the first half of the podcast I showed a bunch of stuff, but there's going to be really nothing to see here. Okay, total party kills, TPKs. Nothing. I'm not really going to add much new to the conversation. If you go on YouTube, there's lots of good videos. This guy, the DM Layer, I don't follow him, but there's some really good stuff in here, and I bet you this information here is really good. And you just scroll down, you're going to hear, you shouldn't have a TPK. TPKs are fine. The first one is how to recover. So there's lots of good advice out there. This is me and just my experiences, why I think I ride the fence. They are okay, but in the right situations. So if this is a topic that interests you, go on YouTube, go check it out. Lots and lots of details out there. I'll give you the genesis of this idea. Joel and I were playing Baldur's Gate 3. We are in Act 2. And Act 2 is proving to be a lot darker than Act 1. I think Act 1 probably, like you would assume most other acts, is a pretty good introduction to how the game plays. If you're new to Dungeons & Dragons, this is what exploration is like. Being introduced to druids, being introduced to tieflings, goblins, etc. Okay, now Act 2 is, let's go more depth. Specifically, let's make it a little darker. Let's test your abilities now that you're leveled up. And I'm really liking it. And so we were playing Act 2. We had just started. And we got to what's called Moonrise Towers. Now, I am far, far, far from an expert in D&D lore. But, spoiler alert, if you are interested in playing Baldur's Gate 3, it's been out for, I don't know, year and a half maybe. Or you're just, maybe not even spoilers, but I don't know, probably spoiler alert is the only thing to be said. But maybe you already know what Moonrise Towers is. Essentially, it's like a cult of the absolutes, and we are introduced into the villain here, Ketheric Thorm. And we're going to watch this intro clip. There's a little more to the conversation, but and I can't find, well, now I'm over-explaining. We're just going to watch this, and this is going to kind of be like a foreshadowing of the conversation. So this is the only clip that I'm going to show, and then it is, like, again, I said all audio from here on out.
Kill the goblins, too.
What? No! You creaking old bag of shit!
I'm so sorry, my lord. She's an unbeliever outside my control.
try again.
Awesome. Awesome. At some point in time, somewhere I'm running a campaign, I'm going to have my BBEG use that line. I'm going to let him be so cocky and like say, hey, get a free shot at me. Do your best, whatever, free attack. And then just completely unfazed by it and say, try again. That was brutal. And I agree with this opulent Halo, whose video I stole. It was a little dark, and my internet is garbage, so it was a little blurry, but I know you got the gist of it. The title of this is, Now That's How You Introduce a Villain. Totally true. Totally awesome. And that led into this conversation. So that's the main bad guy. He leaves after that and leaves this disciple Zrel in charge. I'm going to rewind it just a little bit. And just to give you full context of kind of where I was coming from. So, in Baldur's Gate, if you know nothing about
General. The goblins
are
yours. Deal with them however you wish.
Like a choice tree. And it's a little blurry here because my internet is garbage. But there are these goblins here. And you can choose to save them or let them go. And if you choose to let them go, which this option we're going to pick here in a little bit, that's what I chose when I played through it.
You can release them, kill them, or feed them to each other for all I care. Just deal with them. Here in the seat of the Absolute's power, your authority over them is complete. They will obey any command. Report to me upstairs when you're done.
Please! You gotta help me! For old time's sake!
All right. So now you have the skill tree of options. And I think a good podcaster would know the exact time, but I think this is where we want to be right here. So if you choose to tell them that they're free and they can go.
Oh, praise the Absolute! And praise her true soul!
Your merciful streak will be the death of us one day. Let's hope Zrel won't be too angry.
In another lifetime, you were greeted in this throne room like a god, not the living. Your disgrace has something to do with this Catholic. You yearn to flay him until he forgets himself, as you have. Nothing sickens you.
The seat of the Absolute.
All right. Well, okay.
Power. Occupied by a general that cannot be killed.
Okay, well, it didn't show it. But then afterwards, the orc there then goes upstairs. And to me, it's interesting. This character got different choices than what my character got. Kind of, I would say majority of the same, but some of them are just worded differently. And it's just interesting how the choices you make in Baldur's Gate 3, how they can tie in and impact the story further down the line. So anyways, okay, so that happened. We are introduced to the main bad guy. And then after that, we're introduced to his like right hand. So then I let the goblins go. My character is a fighter. What is it? I think it's arcane fighter. I get some spells and I'm really liking it. Really liking the fighter. People say it's the most boring, but like I do well enough in role-playing situations, but then in combat, like I can hold my own. I think my AC is like 18 or 19, so I'm not getting hit too often, except like area effect and stuff. So whatever, that's a side tangent. So we go upstairs, and man, I am feeling good. We've had, 5-6 encounters, and we're just barely losing any resources. So I stroll right into this Moonlight Towers, like, yeah, what do you got for me here? I'll handle this, no problem. And then we go upstairs, and I talk to this main orc here, Disciple Zrel, I think it is. I'm so terrible with names. I'll let this play again. And then she says, well, what did you do with the goblins? And I said, well, I let them go. And then she got mad. It's interesting because this dialogue, she does not say, I don't care what you do with them. Let them go. Just deal with them. She did not say that for me. So I let them go. And then whatever choice I made afterwards, she did not like that. And it's her, some random wizard I've never seen before, some troll I've never seen before, and then I would say like 3 or 4 other cultists. And based on the choices I made and the rolls I made, which were bad, they did not like that. And then we were surprised. So they had a round of combat. The bad guys had a round of combat before we could attack. And, oh man, it was the mage cast fireball or something and just massive damage. The ogre knocked my wizard out. Gale knocked him right out. I think Joel, who's playing a paladin, maybe survived 1 round, then got knocked out. I got knocked out. I think the last one, just because he was in a random spot, was one of my necromancy skeletons, and they have like, I don't know, 20 hit points or something, so they got knocked out on that next round. And I just thought, oh man, that was awesome. The purpose of that story is that was awesome. I walked in feeling good. There's no way we can handle anything. We've been doing so good, and man, I was schooled big time, and I thought it was awesome. Other people that might have been in that situation, oh man, like, characters are dead. What did I do wrong? I knew what I did wrong. I made terrible choices. And we're going to talk about how I should have known that I was walking into this situation, but I didn't. So the way Baldur's Gate works, my biggest downside, and it doesn't have to be this way, but okay, so you die, we had a TPK. Well, you just load up your last save, and then you go and do it again. Right? Well, we'll talk about rewinding, but that kind of goes against the spirit of D&D, right? So if Joel and I wanted to, I guess we could have said, okay, and this isn't the first time that we've died. We've been in over our heads, but this one was definitely like the biggest wallop. We could have said, okay, let's start over. Let's brand new characters and start the game all over again. Yes, we could make different choices along the way, but it is definitely railroady. You can't just do whatever you want. And so you're not going to get the same D&D experience with Baldur's Gate 3, but you get enough for sure. And Joel and I are going to have an episode talking about Baldur's Gate 3 and how the pros and cons, things we like, we don't like in the future for sure. So, okay. So that was the genesis of this conversation. I know I'm a big rambler, and I could have streamlined that, but you know what? It's what you got. Okay, so TPKs, you can follow these notes, or like I said, you can just kick back and just listen. It's going to be why TPKs can suck, why they can be awesome, and then my solutions that if they suck or if they're great, how you can use them in your game. Okay, so we're going to start with the obvious here. TPKs can suck because you got to start all over and you lose everything. You can say, I don't want to get TPK'd. I'm a level 8, whatever. And we've been playing for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, whatever length of time. And you can feel like, well, that was all for nothing. we're on this quest, we're on this journey. I didn't succeed. As the late great, oh my god, late great, I was literally just talking about him. Bill Paxton, game over, man. Game over, right? That can be a swift kick. That's just, some people can feel that's bad. So we're going to talk about solutions here and talking with your players whether or not it's okay or not. But just for a talking point, yeah, it can suck. You lose everything, start over. Not good. All right? It can suck. Next little bullet point here. Based on how invested your players are in their characters. So kind of mentioned this, but based on a character's background, based on their class, your players might feel let down in that, hey, I'm supposed to be made for this combat. I'm the cleric, and we went into this dungeon of undead, and I'm supposed to be like the go-to person on this, and I failed. And that's a feel bad that I wasn't able to do what my character is supposed to do. This is a game of choices, and, you know, we'll talk about balance here in a little bit. Okay? Next bullet point. How invested are your players in the story? And this is one that I would hope that if your players are upset about the TK, it's kind of like a good thing, bad thing here. And the note I have is incomplete character arcs. And I'm going to share a personal story that happened when I was playing. So if your players are super invested in your story, if you've been doing good things all along the way, and then all of a sudden they die, they might feel really bad that they couldn't complete their character arc. They were sent on this mission to save the town, save the realm, whatever. They were sent to get a magical item that they've been really wanting, and they can't get it. Well, they'll never get the satisfaction of rolling up a new character and trying the process over again. My personal story, Joel, now we're going on, man, maybe 2 years ago. Yeah, probably 2 years ago. He ran the second intro adventure for D&D, the Dragon of Ice Spire Peak. And he followed the story. If you've played it, what I'm about to explain might be different for you. He followed the story for maybe the first couple sessions and then started to add to it. He did some really good research, and he realized that it's not quite what me and Anthony, the two players, are into and how the storyline went. So he tweaked it. And if you've played Lost Mine of Phandelver or the Dragon of Icespire Peak, you might recognize the name Harbin. I think it's Harbin Westmaster. Harbin 5th edition. Harbin Wester. Harbin Wester. Let's see if I can get a picture of him here. And he's the mayor or the town master of Phandalin. Okay? The main story is you start out and you're doing these side quests, but it's literally in the title. There's a dragon that is wreaking havoc on the town. And so you are working with Harbin. You're going to Harbin to get quests. He's paying you. He's your point man. Okay? At some point in the adventure, we come across Harbin's brother, half-brother, something, and he is, you can just tell, the picture of him is, this guy is shady. The second you meet him, you're like, yeah, this guy is no good. He's nothing like his brother, okay? So, Harbin's brother, let me see, well, it doesn't matter, right? Like I said, it was going to be audio. I don't need to look up a picture. So, Harbin's your go-to, and then he tells us, the players, hey, we have to evacuate. We have to go to a safer place because the town isn't safe. The dragon knows that we're here. He's attacking. Not good. Okay. So fast forward, skipping a lot of plot points, we get to Ice Spire Peak. And we know the dragon's there. We come across this bridge of dead bodies. I think the bridge was out, and then beneath that, we can tell there's hundreds of bodies. If I remember correctly, mostly skeletons. And we're like, oh, who are these? Where are they coming from? Okay, dragon must have eaten them. So we get into the keep where we believe the people are supposed to be, and fast forwarding plot points, blah blah blah. I ramble. I got it. Harbin, pretty sure Harbin is there, and Harbin is dead. There's a note next to Harbin that says, "Hey, I made a deal with the dragon. I said he could have the people of Phandalin, but I would be safe." And at that moment, I realized, oh my god, Harbin had double-crossed us. Or maybe not double-crossed. Harbin had backstabbed us, been lying to us, got all of the people, or most of the people of Phandalin killed, because he's a selfish little prick. And from my memory, how I remember the story, he's there already dead. Maybe we killed him, but I think he was already dead. And we know the dragon is close. There's no time for a long rest. Can't do it. We've already trekked all the way up there. We've been drained on resources, right? Like a good DM, you don't want to go into the main battle fully stocked, so drain your players. And in that moment, I knew, okay, I can cast Fireball. It's my number 1 spell, 3rd level. I'm fighting an ice dragon. Fire is going to be super effective, right? But in that moment, I was so mad, I cast Fireball on his dead body. Used the spell slot, and I just wanted to watch him burn. And that's because I was so invested in the story. At that moment, I would have been so mad that, I should say, that moment going forward, I would have been so mad if my character died. I do not want to roll up another character and slay this dragon. That character, sure, I can lie, I can make up a new backstory. It's a game of make-believe, right? But having gone through what my character went through, I wanted to see this dragon perish. And Harbin, and till even now, that was such a great twist that I'm still mad about it. Okay, so that's my personal story. Hopefully you can relate on some level to some character that you played. I was so invested in that, I would have been mad if my player died. Okay. Next bullet point here. How invested are your players in role-playing games in general? If they are a rules lawyer, and that term has a negative connotation to it, I don't mean it to be negative, but if the party is TPK'd and your rules lawyer says, hey, we're a party of 3, level 5, and you put us against a CR 15 and a CR 12. That's just not fair. The encounter is not balanced. Why would you put us in that situation? That's wrong. Okay? There's no way we were going to survive that. You could argue, well, players should have been more creative, right? You didn't have to fight. What's another solution that you can do? Okay? I talked about this in an episode a long time ago, but last year, in my first couple sessions of running my D&D club with my middle schoolers, they went to this abandoned mine, and at the bottom there was a Balrog. They knew it was going to be a tough battle. big dude. Whatever. I was a good DM. I gave him plenty of warning, which we're going to talk about. And they realized there was, I think, one round of combat. And I think my players thought, well, he's not dead, so we haven't killed him yet. It's been one round of combat. What are we going to do? And so there was this group of probably 3 or 4 girls that then said, they must have been colluding when I wasn't listening. They said, we're going to have a dance battle. And whoever wins the dance battle wins the fight. And that's my favorite part of being a DM, especially with kids. You just never know what they're going to say. And so who am I to say, no, there are no dance battles in D&D. So yeah, sure, go for it. Make some rolls, like performance checks or whatever, right? And they won. My goal is let these kids have fun. You got to challenge them a little bit, but especially for newbies. Like I said, it was the first couple sessions. If I TPK these kids on their first session, first experience, they might not want to come back. But I can guarantee you, I can go to those kids and say, hey, how did that first campaign end again? How did you kill? Dance battle! We had a dance battle! Similar story, my very first year running my Dungeons & Dragons club. I'm still learning the rules. We did, I think it was maybe 10 kids, and we ran Lost Mines of Phandelver. We ran it. It was great. Ran it most of the year. Then in the last couple sessions, I said, you know what? We only got to level like 5 or 6. So let's do an epic level 21 shot. And they fought Tiamat. And Archer talked about the Asher. Oh my God, Archer. Asher. This kid, Asher, he was a bard, and they were battling for a while. They were doing good, but the clock was ticking. Club was about to end. And I'm like, I am not leaving this on a cliffhanger. So it just the way it worked out, Asher's up, and Vicious Mockery is his spell. And he said something like, your mother smells like rotten eggs or something like that. And the kids just lost it. It was like, oh my God, Tiamat's mom. Ah! And I don't know what the hit points were at, but I was like, oh my God, just blows up in embarrassment. Right? Okay. Side tangent. Has nothing to do with TPKs, but you know what? Make your table fun. Just do it. Okay? All right. So, back on track. Rules lawyering. If you have a rules lawyer or multiple rules lawyers, it could be a feel bad, right? They know the math. There's no way they're going to deal enough damage. Okay? I get it. In counterbalance, it's important to a certain degree. And as a new DM, it's okay to fudge your dice. Is the big bad guy at 1 hit point? You know what? Just let him die. They got him down to 1. In the game, there is no rule, there is no mechanic, at least 5th edition, for like bloodied condition of 4th edition. If they are under half hit points, then this triggers, right? I say it all the time. I've said it multiple times tonight. It's a game of make-believe, right? So in 5th edition, they can have 1 hit point and be at full strength physically, and as if they were at full health points. So, there's that wiggle room in there. Okay, but it can be a feel bad. And then this last one here, this comes to conversations with your players. And I never want to come across like, hey, I'm an expert DM, right? My words are gold. Listen to what I say. Because I know in my first campaign, I never once asked my players what they wanted to do. I asked what their motivations were, which is different, and they said that they were coming to this town that I had made up to get knowledge, to seek knowledge. And it worked out perfect. And actually, I'm probably misremembering it. I probably warped what they wanted because my big bad evil guy was a mind flayer who they are like the smartest people in the realm, right? So I probably warped it to overemphasize that. And I feel bad. I should have asked multiple times, what do your players want to do? So meeting your player expectations is important. And I have here / no warning given. If you run a dungeon and there's a button on the wall and a player's curious about it and they push the button and some 10-ton boulder falls on them and they die, cool. I had showed the Art and Arcana book, which had the Tomb of Horrors. That's kind of how Tomb of Horrors works. Like, it's just so random, and I think even specifically there's an instance where a boulder falls on players if they do something wrong, and there's no save. There's no dexterity saving throw. There's no strength check. It just flattens you, and you die. Okay? That is not fun. Unless that's the expectation. Hey, players, we're going to go into the deadliest dungeon ever created. The rules aren't what you're used to. This place has a stink on it, and whatever happens, happens. You want to still play? Yep. Okay, cool. Go for it. For the no warning given in my campaign, there was a major NPC that was experimenting on people and bringing them back to life. The resulting factor of that was lots of zombies. Okay. Well, they had reached a point where they had cornered this NPC and they kind of got him like in his lair. Okay. I remember saying, hey, you tracked him. His name was Destrom, Dr. Destrom. And I said, you found him? And it's going to be brutal. Unless you are able to, do something, it's going to be brutal. They had been fighting zombies, which are like, 1/4 CR rating, and very low CR ratings. So inside, there was, what is it? I had it searched up here. Flesh Golem. And their CR is, I don't think it's crazy. It is challenge rating 5. Okay. So to go from 1/4 to 5, that's a pretty big jump. And there were also, I think there was a shade in there and zombies. So that challenge rating is high. If you were to put it in an encounter calculator, I'm sure it would have been very deadly. Okay. If I remember correctly, they did way better than I thought. And I think I had to give them like more hit points because I'm like, this is going to be over real quick. But I gave them fair warning and they still moved forward. So that's an expectation that you as a DM need to give your players. In the Baldur's Gate example, when I go back here and we have Ketheric Thorm, I didn't know exactly what to expect. However, in not too far away from Moonrise Towers, there's a town that has this like magic aura protecting it because they're worried that this guy's going to come and just decimate them. Every NPC is telling me not to go. This guy is like on another level, just brutal, insane. Some other instance, which I'm not remembering, they were like, no, do not go there. Like, we need your help. Like, you got to go, but don't go there, right? Oh, no. Okay, I know what it is. So there's the town, and then there's this scene here. Like, they literally show you, this is the guy that you're going to be up against. Okay, so I witnessed this. Then I still was cocky, let the goblins go, went forward, saw, before I initiated the conversation, I saw that there's this guy's right-hand man, the orc, the mage, and all these other cultists. Like, warning signs, hello, like, don't do this, be prepared, get healing potions, get your buffs ready, do that. No, I was just, I got this. We've destroyed the last 5 or 6 encounters. What can you throw at me that I'm not ready for? Pfft, destroyed, right? So, expectations, let players know what's coming up. Don't just boom dead, right? It's a feel bad. And you can say, there's a million excuses. GM can say, well, you should have had your spells ready, or uh, you didn't buy healing potions at the town. Yeah, sure, but you set up the world, and the players interact with it. And if I didn't already mention this, it's not. I know some people have this mentality, and I see it in my students sometimes, and I will actively go over to the table and say, no, no, no. You are not God. You are, what do I say? You are playing a game of make-believe. Make it fun, right? So I have seen it where if you do this, I will kill your players. Okay, well, settle down on the killing, okay? I don't need you to go home and tell your parents, Evan killed me today. What? Evan killed my character. They don't know how D&D works, and even that is like touchy, right? So it's not like I work at like a Catholic school, but it's 5th grade are 10-year-olds, and I don't know what the minimum age is on the box. It probably says 13. Like, I know Magic the Gathering is 13. And side tangent, like, I have seen kids cry when their characters die. I have seen kids cry when one character steals an item from another character. I've seen it where a kid has cried when a DM killed their pet, their familiar, right? So you don't know the sensitivity of these kids, especially at that age. Okay, side tangent, right? I ramble. So, give warning. Let's recap why it can suck. The obvious is game over, man. Bill Paxton, start all over. All your cool gear, gone, done. Okay? How invested are your players in their characters? If they want to play a druid and they're at level 6, 7, I like that I'm like always using under 10 because no one ever gets over 10. Yeah, sure, they can roll it up, but it's roll a new character, but it's boring again. Like, especially from one campaign right after to have to roll up, and in the back of your mind, you're like, I've already done all this. Like, I know my level 2 abilities, I know my level 3 abilities. This is lame, right? Sure, maybe it's in a new place, maybe it's not even in a new place. At least for my club, putting it in perspective. And they're just doing the same thing over again, right? So don't TPK if your players really want to keep playing their characters. And I understand somebody out there is going to be thinking, no. Like, don't railroad. Let your players make choices. I get it. There's a fine line here, okay? And maybe I'm jumping to an extreme. Like, players can just do anything they want, right? You don't have to TPK them. And we'll talk about we will talk about alternatives that you can do coming up. Okay. Next one is incomplete character arcs. If you know, like, here would be a great example. If your characters, if your players, how do I want to say this? If your player character's family is murdered by the end boss, well, that's a real feel bad if you also let them die. Like, do the best you can to let them get redemption and complete their character arc, right? Yeah, anybody can do it, but they don't want a random character to do it. They want this character whose family died, right? Okay, next one. Rules lawyering. That's tough, right? You don't feel bad in saying, you know what? I messed up. I didn't think that you were going to roll so poorly. I didn't think I was going to roll so high. I got 3 criticals in a row. What do you want me to do? Right? So we'll talk about in solutions how you can rewind, okay, for that one. And then lastly, recapping how it can suck. Like, if you don't give your players warnings or expectations that things are going to get dangerous, then that's just a feel bad, right? Why didn't you tell me? I didn't know that this was going to happen. And you can say, well, use your brain. In real life, you don't know you never know what's going to happen, right? But it's not real life, right? Don't treat it like it. It's a game. You're literally playing a game. Whew. All right, I'm going to take a little drink here because my throat, all right? Just a little ASMR here. Okay. Why TPKs can be awesome. Self-sacrifice. In Along the Ley Line by Cole Wilkinson of Piranha Squirrel Productions. Go check it out. Go buy and go support. He has a mechanic called Blaze of Glory. And when a character gets down to 0 hit points, you can basically admit defeat. You can say, I'm not going to roll any saves. I'm not going to make, for him, I forget the kind of check it is. We'll say strength check. I don't think that's right. But it's strength check. But I want to go out in a Blaze of Glory. Blaze of Glory, I believe the mechanic is any action they do is a critical action. It automatically happens. There's no roll to hit. You hit, and it's a crit, but then you immediately die. Right? Awesome. When we ran They Croak Every Night, my character, Average Joe, realized, hey, our party is not doing good. Compared to 5th edition, way harder, way more OSR feel. And I think even myself kind of got used to D&D bloat of hit points. I was like, yeah, sure. Just my cockiness again. Yeah, sure. There's nothing this mad wizard can do to me that I can't recover from. Not the case. So I stepped in front of where he's drawing magic from. I step in front of the spell he's going to cast, and I take the full brunt of it. And for me, that was awesome. Now, that's not a TPK. That's just me. It's not everybody in the party. That's just me. So maybe it doesn't quite relate, but if you can make it in a way that, hey, if everybody gets a Blaze of Glory, or if everybody gets to do something that slows the bad guy down, hinders the bad guy, makes him run away, whatever, something to save the town temporarily so the town can come up with a new plan, or he moves on, the bad guy would move on. Not a perfect solution, but it can be awesome if players self-sacrifice and it impacts the story in a super positive way. That can be awesome. Next one, okay? A TPK. In the moment, the tension can be really high. My Baldur's Gate experience where we were literally walloped, there wasn't a lot of time for tension. I think it was 2 rounds of combat and then we were done. Okay. There's no GM there that can hold the brakes. That blast was too powerful. We're going to slow it down. It's a game. It's programmed to do what it does, and boom, wasted. All right. But the awesomeness of that event was super cool. And if you can have one player go down, now all of a sudden, okay, well, we had 5 people. Now we have 4. Now the damage is going to be spread tighter to everybody. Okay. Oh, okay. Now we're down to 3 people, right? Well, our everybody's hit points are low, or at least our spell slots are low, our resources are low. I've used up a health potion. Okay, well, I took my turn off to go stabilize another person, so that's damage that wasn't put on the bad guy. Clock's ticking. What do I do? What do I do? Right? And in these scenarios, put out a sand timer, put a timer. Hey, you have 3 minutes to decide. Okay, and that is just great tension spike. Yeah, the balloon will be popped when the party dies in a TPK, but if you ride that tension, it can be a pretty good wave. Okay? I just came up with that phrase. You feel free to use it. Ride that tension wave, baby. Okay, next one. Can be a learning experience. Something that I struggle with is I'm far from an expert, but I have a pretty good knowledge of 5th edition. When I play, and people that have tons of experience are going to probably feel this more than me, but like if I come across a zombie, let's say, I know it has undead fortitude. I know what I have to do to put it down, okay? But a new player, maybe a TPK is because I didn't know what layer actions are. Like I thought the dragon already went. Why is he going again? What are these layer actions? I don't know what those are, and they just get walloped based on their inexperience. Negatives of that are, well, I didn't know, but the pros of it are, well, I know more for next time. It can be a learning experience. I know something big in old school D&D was the 10-foot pole. Adventurers travel with a 10-foot pole, trying to trip wires, trying to tap pressure plates, and that's how they crawl through the dungeon. They're moving slow, and they're checking for all of these things. And that only comes from when a party comes across a trap, doesn't realize it's there, it's well hidden, they fail their check, and now they're in a pit of spikes. Okay? And side tangent, I don't understand how a pit of spikes doesn't just insta-kill every party. Or at least the person that falls in. It's like, oh, you fell into a pit of spikes, take 2d6. Like, what? I have spikes going through my lungs right now. How am I going to recover from this? I think traps should be, like, super deadly. Not, again, fine line, like, what's the Tomb of Horrors, like just insta death. But like, even though I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, and I guess that's why it's like 2d6, right? You don't want to feel bad of, well, I failed my check, so now I die, right? But it is pretty cool. Like, okay, well, Steve fell, and now he's got a scat covered spike through his neck. Like, oh. Not while everybody else, watch out for that trap. That can be tough. I get it. But it's a learning experience. So now okay, I gotta carry a 10-foot pole, or I gotta move more slowly, or I gotta make more checks more often. Okay? With different tactics. I guess that's tactics with the checks. And the more monsters you run into, layer actions, that they can fly, that they have 2 attacks. They know I remember in Dragon of Icespire Peak, I think Orc 5e, their stat. I had fought goblins before, but I had never fought an orc. And yeah, here we go, aggressive. As a bonus action, the orc can move up to its speed toward a hostile creature that it can see. I was shocked. I didn't know that orcs can move that fast. I thought they are, I guess they're medium. I thought they were large. I'm like, there are these big hulking creatures. How can they move this fast? And I got slaughtered. I got obliterated. So, but now me as a person, I know orcs are really fast. So whenever I play my characters, I just kind of assume like, well, that's the knowledge of the world, right? Is there a reason why my player wouldn't know that orcs are fast? GM, tell me that, right? Are orcs ubiquitous in the world? Are they everywhere? Or are they just centrally located to this area? So now I've learned tactics to deal with those. And again, new players, that's how you find out. It's part of the game. It can be part of the game. I just almost slipped into like lazy talk, like, well, it is what it is. Okay, you should have known, right? They can move fast. Get ready for it. So TPKs can be awesome. They do help you, should help you, at the very least, learn the game. Okay. TPKs can be awesome because they can lead to new storylines. A TPK doesn't have to be total party kill. You can give your players sort of kind of a get out of jail free card, and it can be a total party knockout. Okay? Based on the situation, if the party is knocked out by a bunch of wolves, just basic wolves, not much you can do there. Okay? A wolf is going to eat you for food. Okay? Maybe drag you back to their den, eat you later. Okay? But if it's in a situation where you can help the enemy provide information, if you can be ransomed, you might want to do a total party knockout and then throw your party in jail. If the bad guy thinks you have information, they can be tortured. And I know torture is like, safe space. Are you fine with torture? I get it. But if you can help, if the bad guy thinks by torturing you they can get information from you, they're going to do that rather than just kill you. So, options for a slight variant on TPK. Another awesome thing, and this is for players, I thought of this the other day. If your old character dies, what a great storyline to roll up a new character would be. I am a family member, I'm a brother, I'm the father of whatever character just died. And now the only reason why this new person is adventuring is because they are redeeming the old character that died. You are the new character's backstory is your old character's backstory. I hope that makes sense. I think that is a super cool way to have a TPK. It offers redemption. It offers like a legit reason. And it doesn't have to be family member. Talking about it out loud, it can be any NPC that had a relationship with that character. That new character's background, their reason for adventuring is because of your old character's actions, right? Pretty cool. I think, at least. Okay? Why it can be awesome. Another reason why a TPK can be awesome, and these are wise words from Joel the Mighty. After playing the Dragon of Icespire Peak, we have kind of like, or after all three of our campaigns, we kind of have a closing session, or what's the word I'm thinking of? After a story, epilogue, and kind of reviewing what was cool, what wasn't cool. Joel had said, well, I wish I would have leveled up your characters more. I think we got to maybe 10 or 11. Because I wish I would have leveled up your characters more, because when's the next time you're going to play a sorcerer? When's the next time you're going to play a bard? And those are the two characters that we played. Me and Anthony, I was a sorcerer. And that really stuck with me. Like, yeah, we made to level 10, and that was awesome. But yeah, like, when am I going to run a sorcerer next? Okay, Baldur's Gate 3? Sure, maybe I would have played a sorcerer again, but I wanted to play something new. Something I'd never played before. And so, yeah, I'm missing out on the higher end abilities of a sorcerer. So maybe we would have ended at 13, 14, 15 and, just modify the encounters to be more difficult. I'm going to feel like I'm doing more. I'm going to feel like, oh, sure, I can cast 5 fireballs instead of 2. Sweet. Like, I'm getting pretty strong. I'm doing some pretty cool stuff. So when a party dies, it's an opportunity to stay in the same world if you want to, or start over, but it gives your players a chance to play a new type of character. imagine you're playing a cleric that, well, like here's a good example. So, no knock at all to Anthony's story that he ran, the last full length campaign I was in. But I was a cleric, and one of my abilities, I forget, it's been so long now, but it's something like find fiend, celestial, and something else. And it was just a free ability that I got to do, I think, equal to my proficiency bonus every day. So after a while, I stopped doing it, but I did it maybe 20 times. And then after just being told no over and over again, like, oh, well, maybe I picked the wrong cleric. There's no fiends, undead or celestials in this campaign. Like, well, that's a feel bad. That's an ability that I just don't get to use. Okay. And I don't put that on Anthony to just include those type of characters because it's an ability of mine. So, like, I don't think I would have changed. I think that's a core cleric ability. I don't think that's a subclass ability. And so, maybe, just maybe, had I known early on that those weren't going to be in the campaign, I would have maybe picked a different character. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I wanted a fighter that can cast spells. So that's why I picked Paladin. Okay, so yeah, give players new characters and classes to play. And then lastly here, I have that this can be a slippery slope, but you can be humbled and show that you are not as good as you think. I've already mentioned it is not GMs versus players. I've seen that with my students. But the Baldur's Gate example I shared earlier, like, we got rocked, right? All right, we have to come in with tactics. We have to maybe do some side quests, level up, find more gear, spend some money, upgrade our gear. We got to do something different. We can't. There's no amount of times we were going to redo that battle that we were going to survive. And that's kind of where we left off. So that's what we have to do going forward. So it can be a great way to humble your players and say, hey, you think you're smarter than me? Okay, your level, we'll go high level. We'll say you're level 10. Great. Well, here is Tiamat. Okay, boom. Tiamat just appears. What are you going to do now? Huh? Right? So, thin line. Not great for that. But if you can show your players like, hey, you're skating through. I'm just rambling, but like, what are your tactics? What are your plans? You don't really want to say, well, you didn't buy enough healing potions at town, so your fault. But you got to frame it in a way of like, hey, I kind of gave you, and it goes back to the, where is it? The expectations and no warning. Hey, I gave you plenty of warning, right? I let you know that there's a high level mage here. I let you know that there's going to be traps there. I let you know these things and you ignored them. And that's your leg to stand on. Okay? So it can be humbling for players. I'm trying to think of a time where I was impacted. I know in Anthony's story we were fighting this Yeti and he was walloping us, and we were like, I was ending up throwing rocks at him because I was just out of spell slots and I didn't have a ranged weapon. That's what it was. I've said it before, probably getting long in the tooth. Roll your eyes. I don't care. This is for me, not for you. But in playing D&D, I assumed to switch weapons from a sword to a bow or crossbow was an action. And I'm like, and there's even more to it than that. I didn't even think that was like a thing you could really do. Well, in Baldur's Gate 3, you can attack with a sword and attack with a crossbow if you have double attack. Like, you just switch. That's just a free action that you get to do. And so I learned, great, sweet, I can do that. And I'm even after this, I'm going to double check the rules to see what's it like. And if Baldur's Gate 3 is different than the core rules, kudos to Baldur's Gate. Like, you can drink potions as a bonus action. I don't necessarily think that's a great idea, but it's your degree of difficulty. Do you want a harder game? Then absolutely make drinking potions an action. If you're high fantasy, you're there to have fun, sure, drink it as a bonus action, right? So, slippery slope. You can humble your players, but it's got to be, go back to you have to give them heads up and a warning. Then it's justified. Okay? So, some solutions here. If a TPK happens, or to prevent one, talk with your players at session 0 and then again later. Again, my biggest regret, well, one of my biggest regrets is not talking enough with, like, hey, are you having fun? What do you want to do? Here's what, you know what needs to happen, but is there something cool you want to do? I've mentioned this before. I think I recovered okay, but Anthony was CT, a rogue. And there was this, I built it up like there's this shady bar on the shady side of town. This is where the rough and gruff go, the down and out. And he knocked on the door, and he used his thieves' cant to the guard at the door. And I was like, I might have made Anthony roll, I'm not sure. But I was like, no, he doesn't understand what you're talking about. And I'm sure in that moment, he was like, well, what the hell? You set this up as, like, this is a thieves' den, essentially. Why didn't that work? I think I recovered because he was just a dumb guard, and I want to say that I either was like, the guard at least knew about it and led him to somebody that does speak thieves' cant, but at the end of the day, like, it wasn't as impactful as it should have been, and I didn't give him enough opportunities to do that. So, along with TPKs, like, hey, are you okay with your character dying? Usually early on, they're going to say yes. Okay. So check in again later. Level 2, level 3. Hey, tensions are starting to get a little higher. Difficulty levels getting a little higher. You know that you're going to go to these scarier places. Are you fine with your player dying? Okay. Yes, I'm fine. Okay. Well, then you have accepted the risks. No, I'm not okay. All right. Well, I'm going to give you as much warning as I can, but at the end of the day, the dice rolls what the dice rolls. Okay? All right, well, I'll be mad, but fine. I appreciate you telling me. Okay, great. Okay. TPK solution, make it meaningful. Again, the Bible of Along the Ley Line. Go check it out. I guarantee every single paragraph in there is going to change your game. Give them a blaze of glory. Make it meaningful. Make them have the boss be slowed down. Have them move along. Find some reason to make the TPK worthwhile. I said I would talk about this later. This is maybe a little extreme example, but it is a game, okay? So at the end of the day, just say, hey, you know what? And this is really good for rules lawyers. Hey, I messed up. This encounter is too difficult. I had too many monsters. I get combat fog, and usually it works in the player's favor where, like, I forget to do things, but maybe you're like, you had monsters attack more than they should in combat, and maybe your player's like, didn't he already attack? No, he didn't. Take 3 damage, right? And so GMs can make mistakes. And even if you don't make a mistake, even if it's by the book, if that is the result that the players didn't see coming, but maybe it wasn't foreshadowed, it's a game. Rewind, do it again. Is it going to maybe feel weird? Sure, but ask the players, hey, we can always rewind. Are you fine with that? Yeah, sure. Like, I know in Baldur's Gate 3, I have multiple times been in a dialogue tree and I pick something and then the resulting action, I'm like, no. That's not what I meant. Because the GM, you've got it all in your brain. And it's hard to get it from your brain out of your mouth into another person's ears and into their brain and have it be 100% what you intended. So, pause, rewind. That's not what I wanted to have happen. Let's do it again. Okay? Totally an option. Next one here I have, so this one's maybe not necessarily a solution, but be consistent, especially with your death saves. If you're following 5th edition, right, fastball down the middle like it's supposed to be, okay, get knocked out. Now you have 5 opportunities before something happens. You can get 3 10 to 20s and you're up. You can get 2 1 to 9s and then a 20 and pop up. I don't need to go over all the combinations, okay? But be consistent with those and set the expectations there so players know. If they know, hey, if I receive double damage, double my maximum HP damage, then that's insta-death. There's no saves, okay? That usually, I would think that usually comes from like fall damage. You know, if all of a sudden some monster attack deals 60 damage, like, come on. That you as a GM failed your players. That's not okay. Something I know screwed up on, and as a learning experience, Joel might have been mad at me, but in my 11-month campaign, he was a ranger, and he had Wolfie, and that was his familiar, or not familiar. That was his we'll call pet. I can't think of the exact term. And Wolfie went down, and I said, nope. 0 hit points for him. He's dead. And Joel, well, he doesn't get death saving throws. And I don't know if I was just too arrogant, too much of a jerk in the moment. Like, I don't know what the rules are, so this is what it is. I was like, nope, no death saves. And he was expecting that there were. And nowhere did I ever say that there wasn't. Okay? So in that moment, I would argue I was inconsistent. I believe I probably played it by the rules, but he didn't know that. And it's my job as the GM. I never once said, like, if he goes down to 0, he's dead. So I'm sure he felt bad. We worked it out that he got some spell that he could summon Wolfie as a familiar, as a ghost, or Fae, whatever. I'm still figuring out what Fae is. And so that was like a medium ground, but I'm pretty sure if I were to ask Joel, he wants original Wolfie to still be alive. And I ruined that for him. I ruined his whole life because of that one inconsistent, poor choice on a death save for Wolfie. And I gotta live with that, okay, for the rest of my life. All right, lastly, solutions. If there's a TPK, have a backup plan. Okay? Kind of talked about these. Backup plan, have them get knocked out. Have them go to jail. Have pre-made characters ready for them. Hey, we're only a half hour into the session. I know you died, but let's keep going. Okay? Another backup plan. Let's see. I thought I had more. Now I'm having a brain fart. You can see I have notes for all these, but not this one. There's a TPK. Have a backup plan. Prison. Roll a new character. If there's NPCs that they want to play, go do that. Totally fine. Oh yeah, here we go. This was what I had. Have it. It would work best if you ended the session right then and there. Okay, characters died. Sorry, see you later. We're going to play next week? No! Hey, we're going to play next week, okay? All right, fine. We're going to play next week, okay? I'll have characters for you. You don't know who your characters are going to be. Okay? All right. Well, I want to play zip, okay? I'm going to have characters for you. So you spend some time and you roll up characters of equal level to where they were at. Hopefully it's somebody that is within the realm that's close to you. close to where your characters died, and word has gotten out that you've been gone, that the original party has been gone a long time. Word has gotten out that somebody is adventuring to the BBEG's location. Word has gotten out some arcane trick, some god, something has happened, and somebody important in their life has been notified that you're in trouble. All right? As far as the players know, their characters are dead, as far as I know. Okay? They're going to be upset, probably, but when they show up and they have a familiar character with a background either fully or partially filled out, kind of like what I had said earlier, where your new character's backstory is the old character's adventure. I think I had said backstory before, but the old player's adventure. That's super cool. And now you can go two ways with this. Well, probably multiple ways, but two ways. They can go and avenge the party, and they can go and they can be on a rescue mission. Well, that is going to happen regardless. They're going to go on a rescue mission. Okay? Now, here's where I would say two things can happen. When they get there, and you're going to let them get there, they're going to come across the old party. And they're either, one, going to be relieved that you're there, and you're going to save them. Or two, the bad guy has corrupted the old characters. And now the GM gets to play these characters. They get to see them again. They know that they didn't die. Maybe they're going to see them die in front of them, and that it's like an epic battle between these NPCs. Well, now they're PCs, but these people that love the old players. Are you getting lost in the sauce right now? But there can be an opportunity if the players don't rescue them. Their goal can be to kill the BBEG and break the curse, find the antidote, etc. So your players are going to be salty at you all week or all month until you play again, but they didn't quite die. And you can label, or you can talk about it as, you know what? Yeah, you made your death saves. You failed your death saves, but you were clasping on the verge of death. And now talking about it out loud, maybe even cooler, it would have to be staged just right. If like everybody got wiped out at the same time, you could argue like, all right, make 2 saves, let them get to 2 death saves, and don't let them roll their third one. Rules lawyer, I get to roll 3. Hey, zip it, bucko. I got something cool in mind. Okay, so then they don't know. That kind of spoils it a little bit, that the GM is probably gonna keep your character alive. So take that into consideration. But that can be a backup plan. My backup plan is a god intervenes and saves them. Whether they are religious or not, some god aligns themselves with the players and rescues them this one time. Hey, I've shown that I can be merciful, but now you owe me a favor. Okay, I've saved you. Now you have to do something for me. That's my out. If that ever happens in my club, that's a god steps in and saves the TPK. So, all right, there we go. I think that's some good stuff. Yeah, lots of rambling. It's what I do. Talked way too long. A professional podcaster would tighten it up, but not me. You get the rambles. All right. Hopefully you found something out of it. Hopefully it improves your game. Keep being creative. See you in the next episode. Later.